All right, the shoulders are tight and it's time to loosen them up. So let's get a little foam rolling action. So we've got the lacrosse ball, or get your massage ball out, whatever feels better. And then let's get that foam roller. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start over on those lats. We're gonna get onto that shoulder. We're gonna start gently rolling up and down in those lats. So we're not gonna be in the armpit, we're gonna be just underneath the armpit and slightly back in the posterior side. Think of those long lats, getting that meaty portion of them rolled out. All right, so you can have the arm more up front first, and if we can, we're gonna slowly walk that arm up there to stretch that lat out. We're rolling into it. Nice and slow. Find a tight point, sit on it, keep your pressure gently into it, breathe through it, let it release. All right, nice and easy. If you can think about that shoulder blade, you're on the side of that shoulder blade, you're kind of pushing upward on it from the side. Then we can roll forward into it and get from that front plane and kind of roll back in it. When you get underneath that on the shoulder blade, you're gonna be getting that supraspinatus, little rotator cuff muscle even, to help push into it and help it release out. So they can be a little painful, but just ease into it. You got your weight distributed through your body, so you don't have to get all the way up on it and really apply too much aggressive pressure. So get used to it, get comfortable with it. Let that lat slowly stretch out. Go from the front and kind of roll back, gently kind of pushing into that muscle back there. Oh yeah. You find a spot that's a little bit tender, sit on it. Take about 30-45 seconds. Let that muscle relax in there. And we're going to try to spend a good 90 seconds demonstrating on them, and then when you go on your own, if you can take about 2 minutes up to 3 if they're real tight on each section of those muscles. All right, so that's the lateral portion, the outside portion of that shoulder underneath that armpit and those lats. Get a little bit of that rotator cuff muscle. All right, then after we finish with that one, what we're going to do is we're going to ease on up. We're going to be thinking about, we're going to transfer into the inside of your shoulder blades. Think about those shoulder blades. We're trying to get in between, not on the spine, but between the spine and that shoulder blade. So we can just find that spot, take your arm across the body to open that cavity up, and just roll that shoulder up and down. Same thing, search for your knot. You find a knot, then just relax, sit onto it. You can always roll into it a little more to apply that pressure. Breathe through it. It'll start releasing those knots out of there. Relax. Once it starts releasing from that spot, find another one in there. We're not really getting all the way up onto the traps. We're staying below those traps for right now. And the same thing, you find all those little knots, just kind of knead into it, then pause, keep a little pressure on it. Breathe through it. It's not fun, but it'll make the shoulder feel better later. Breathe, relax. It gets a little intense sometimes. It'll get you sweating also if you're doing it right. And then after we go in from that one, now what we're going to do is we're going to get on top of that shoulder blade back there. So where those shoulder blades are, we're not between them now. On the inside, we're going kind of right on top of that shoulder blade on the lower portion of it. All right, so if we can get right on top of that shoulder blade, kind of towards the outside now. Check that area out. Roll around, find your, if you have any knots sitting in there. Oh yeah. And if you find one of these knots out here, if you want to, you can take your arm, move it out, move it in with your elbow by your side. You're going to make that muscle have to go. When you go hand in, you're making it stretch and elongate. When you go out, you're going to make it shorten. You can kind of knead that muscle back across and forth that ball when you're on there. Remember, it's a discomfort, but it's not painful like a shooting sharp pain. You shouldn't feel anything like that. Just ease on into it. After you get on that shoulder blade, after we ease off that one, what we'll do is we'll transfer up. We'll go to the wall or a door. So we're on the door, we can now work on the chest here, okay? And if it's too uncomfortable to lay on the ground and do the backside, you can place the ball back there and do the same thing in a standing position. Now we're gonna work on the chest. We're gonna think right when those pecs get tight. We can go set, push the hand behind us, open up that arm so we can get a little stretch from the chest as you roll. Keep on rolling that. When you're rolling it, you're thinking right underneath where that collarbone's at, midline chest, and just roll all the way out to where it gets into its insertion out there, right underneath that kind of meaty portion of that pec where it connects into your arm. You're just rolling that whole region out there. Find a couple knots, sit on it in there. If you want to have more of the door frame open, you can do some active movements where you get on that chest. You'll reach out and pull back. And that'll force that muscle to have to get a little release, a little active release through it each time. And then after that, we're going to work on the traps on here. You take that and you put on that door frame, it sticks right in there. You put your trap right on there, hands on the ground. And you can just kind of dip into it to roll the lower portion of those traps, come up and get right on top of those traps. Oh, and the same thing, you find a knot, just let your body just sit into it. Just help that tension just release out of those knots. You got one that's tighter than the next, and spend a little extra time with it. So finish with those traps, and now we'll go back up to the outside of that arm, get that lateral portion. So think the bony part of that top of that shoulder, we're staying just below that, rolling down, kind of like mowing a lawn, just kind of keep going up and down, a little more on the back side, a little more off to the side, a little more off to the front. Try to find where those knots are. Find one of those knots, sit on it, breathe, relax, let it relax and stretch. When you're rolling, always, you need anytime you're stretching, try to keep your body opened up. Keep that external rotation. Don't go scrunched up into things. Open up. Let the muscles elongate. Let them stay in their line. Good to form that neutral posture. When you roll towards the front, you can get all the way up. You're getting that kind of the long head of that bicep and rolling right on that front side of that body, just gently. Find one of those knots, sit on it, breathe, relax. Breathe, relax. So, take your time rolling, do it a few times a week. That should help out release that shoulder to where it can sit in that neutral position so they're not pulled up on us, they're not getting rotated in on us. We can find that neutral. It's better off. We're going to have less pain or pushing motions, all right? So keep up the great work.